Prashritham Asye Grasane Grahascha Graha Tu Te Prashritam Asye Grasane Grahastu Te Yat Sharvanam Te Bhagavan Agni-hotram Yat Sharvanam Te Bhagavan Agni-hotram Shraktunda Sid Shruvaishanasayor Idodare Chamasa Karnarandre Prashritamasye Grasane Grahastute Yasharmanam Te Bhagavan Agni-hotram Shraktunda Asid Shravayishanashayor Idodare Chamasa Karnarandre Prashritamasye Grasane Grahastute Yasharvanam Te Bhagavan Agni-hotram Shrak, the plate for sacrifice. Tunde, on the tongue. Asit, there is. Shruvaha, another plate for sacrifice. Isha, O Lord. Nashayoho, of the nostrils. Ida, the plate for eating. Udare, in the belly. Chamasaha, another plate for sacrifices. Karnarandre, in the holes of the ears. Prashritam, the plate called the Brahmā plate. Asye, in the mouth. Grasane, in the throat. Grahaha, the plates known as soma plates. Tu, but. Te, your. Yat, that which. Sharvanam, chewing. Te, your. Bhagavan, O my Lord, Agni-hotram is your eating through your sacrificial fire. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril is another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is the eating plate of sacrifice, and another plate of sacrifice is the holes of your ears. In your mouth is the Brahmā plate of sacrifice. Your throat is the plate of sacrifice known as soma, and whatever you chew is known as agni-hotra. Please repeat the translation. O Lord, your tongue is a plate of sacrifice. Your nostril is another plate of sacrifice. In your belly is the eating plate of sacrifice. Another plate of sacrifice is the holes of your ears. In your mouth is the Brahmā plate of sacrifice. Your throat is the plates of sacrifice known as soma. And whatever you chew is known as agni-hotra. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Vedavadis say that there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performance of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They have recently made a rule in their group to formally observe daily sacrifice. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically. But they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas. It is understood that by regulation there are different plates of sacrifice required, such as Shrak, Shruva, Barhis, Chaturhotra, Ida, Chamasa, Prashritra, Graha and Agni-hotra. One cannot achieve the results of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulations. In this age, there is practically no facility for performing sacrifices in strict discipline. Therefore, in the age of Kali, there is stricture regarding such sacrifices. It is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtana Yajna and nothing more. The incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yajneshwara, and unless one has respect for the incarnation of the Lord, he cannot perfectly perform sacrifice. In other words, taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto Him is the factual performance of all sacrifices as explained herein. Different plates of sacrifice correspond to different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, it is explicitly directed that one should perform Sankirtan Yajna to please the Lord's incarnation as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This should be rigidly followed in order to achieve the result of Yajna performance. Thus the Bhakti Vedanta Parva. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So continuing with the prayers by the higher personalities to Lord Varaha. They are saying Shrak Tunda Asid. Shrak is a kind of sacrifice. It is which is the tongue is also is a plate of sacrifice. Shruva Isha Nashayor. Shruva is one more kind of sacrifice, which is the nostrils of the Lord. Ida Udare. The Ida is one kind of sacrifice where it is represented with the belly. Chamasah Karnarandre. One more sacrifice, Chamasaha, which is the holes of the ears, Karnarandre. Prashritam Asya Grasane Grahasta. This is one, Prashritam is one more plate of sacrifice called Brahmā plate, which is Asya in the mouth. Grasane Grahasya. So in the throat is a plate known as Soma plate known as Grahaha. Yash Sharvanam Te Bhagavan agni-hotram. Whatever the Lord chewed the food is known as agni-hotra. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains about again these Vedavadis, what is their intention and how they misrepresent the system, who do not follow the rules and regulations and who have speculated about the purpose of sacrifices. So here Prabhupada says, what is the understanding of these Vedavadis? They say there is nothing more than the Vedas and the performance of sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas. They simply ignite a small fire and offer something whimsically, but they do not strictly follow the sacrificial rules and regulations mentioned in the Vedas. So doing as a formality but not with what is the proper system. That's why they are condemned persons. So then what is the actual understanding of the Vedas? So further Prabhupada explains. One cannot achieve the results of sacrifice unless one observes the strict regulations. So Vedic system is a manual for living entity, how to sustain in this material world, get his benefits also by worshipping the Lord and be happy in the process to achieve higher destination. That's the whole perspective of Vedic literature. They are like guidance, rules and regulations for the society. The incarnation of the Supreme Lord is known as Yajneshwara, and unless one has respect for the incarnation, one cannot perform perfectly a sacrifice. So whom are we offering? Unless that personality is not perfectly, we understand about his position, quality, our sacrifice will not be into perfection. Taking shelter of the Lord and rendering service unto Him is the factual performance of all sacrifices. The real purpose of sacrifice is mentioned here is taking shelter of the Lord, Sarva Dharman Parityatya, and engaging in His devotional service, Bhaktya, surrender and devotional service. That is factual performance of sacrifice. So here various names have been mentioned: Shrak, Shruva, Barhis, Chaturhotra, Ida, Chamasa, Prashrita, Graha and Agni-hotra. These are the different plates of sacrifice which are part of the Vedic rituals. They all correspond to the different parts of the body of the Lord's incarnation. Basically, what we understand is Lord Varaha is the personification of sacrifice. So when he is personification, which part of his body corresponds to which part of the sacrifice has been delineated in these verses. Like in universal form, we say he is the universal form. But universe is just not one specific entity. There are technical elements. 14 planetary systems are there. There are different demigods are there who manage the universe. So in that way, a correlation has been given. Where are the 14 planetary systems within the body of the Lord? Like lotus feet is the Patala planets. The Brahmaloka is in the head of the Lord. So technically, you know which planetary system is positioned in which part of the body of the Lord. Similarly, all the demigods are also represented in the form of the Lord. So where this technically each demigod is staying in which specific part of the body of the Lord, like how we understand so clearly, here specifically also the sacrifice and its technicalities are elaborated within the part of the body of the Lord. That is how we understand these verses to be. But if you have to know what are each individual elements, not much clarity has been given in Bhagavatam. So only in technical, in other Vedic scriptures like in Vedas and other places, some information has been provided. The shrak, or the first one, is a particular implement for pouring ghee in the sacrifice. It's like a spoon. Like when we do yajna, there are two kinds of spoons. One, you offer ghee, the other one, you offer sweet rice into the sacrifice. So what is the specific name? This is specifically for pouring ghee into the sacrifice, it seems. And it is an arm's length, and it is made of a particular type of wood called vikankata. It has a rod-like handle and a spout with a shallow groove at its tip that resembles a swan's beak. Its front part is a curved out spoon the size of a fist. The Shruva, another one, is another element used in sacrificial oblations. Like at the end, when you offer oblations like Namo Brahmane Devaya, you use a different spoon. You doesn't use a regular spoon. So it is made of Kadira wood. It is smaller than the shrak, and he used to pour ghee in the process. So this is the technical details. Then there is something called as barhis, or what we see as what is that grass we use? Kusha grass. Barhis is a kind of Kusha grass. Barhis means that which is plucked is a bed of or a layer of sacrificial grass that is usually strewed over the sacrificial ground. So when a sacrifice has to be performed, this Kusha grass will be spread everywhere, it seems, so that the land becomes purified. And especially over the platform, where the sacrifice is going to be done, the platform is also decorated with the Kusha grass. And it is to serve as a sacred surface on which to present oblations. So you don't keep all your materials on the ground, you keep it on the Kusha grass, so that they are purified in nature, they are kept with the sanctity of the place, sanctity of the ingredients is maintained. And there is a seat for the gods. So the seat on which the gods are invited, Kusha grass is given for them to sit there. And for the sacrificers also, all the priests who sit there, they are supposed to sit on that Kusha grass seat. So it is technically a material for purificatory purposes. Even they wear a ring of Kusha grass. So that purifies his consciousness. In the perspective, this is the Kusha grass is meant for that purpose. That is known as Barhisi, which is the hair of the Lord, which emanated from the bodily hair of the Lord. In that way, it is connected with the purificatory perspective. Then there is this agni-hotra ritual. So where Shastra say agni-hotra is a sacrificial fire, simple sacrificial fire, where you lit the fire and you pour ghee and til seeds into that. Sometimes in the special occasions you put like dry fruits you put, or some other ingredients you add into that, like havan samagri and many other things you put. Generally it is a fire sacrifice where a ghee is offered and til seeds are offered, standard process. And why it is done, what it enhances if you do. So this is a process where the pujaris chant the various mantras, requesting the Lord for his presence and requesting the Lord for his mercy. The fire god becomes the mouth of the god through which he accepts our offerings. And this is also through fire god. All the shares of various demigods are also distributed. This ritual invokes auspiciousness, peace, goodwill, and changes the vibration and atmosphere where it is held. See, it brings about a purificatory process in the atmosphere, where the place surrounding this, where the sacrifice is being held. In the Atharva Veda, it is mentioned, this agni-hotra destroys enemies. The flames, the smoke, and the vibrations of the agni-hotra promote mental peace and give contentment. It clarifies the air, spreads fragrance, purifies the atmosphere, and helps the householders. It gives them energy and the power to concentrate. It releases mental tension, and through a cleaner environment, it promotes good health for everyone and has innumerable benefits. So these are particularly for the householders to perform these sacrifices, so that their consciousness is clean when they perform. So because when consciousness is clean, they can engage in spiritual perspectives. So then there is in one particular 11th canto, where the Navayogendras, while describing about various questions, they explain about these Vedavada Rathas. So we are understanding these Vedavada Rathas, what is their mentality and how these people are condemned by the system. Because they only encourage the external things. They do not educate people about devotional service. So how they are condemned is explained in the following verses. Karmani akovidaha stabdaha. So people who are ignorant. Karmani akovidaha. Kovidaha means who is expert. Akovidaha means those who are ignorant. Stabdaha, those who are arrogant. Murkaha, those who are fool. Pandita maninaha, those who think they are learned. Vadanti chatukan muda. So who offer flattering entreaties to the demigods. Yaya madhya gira utsukaha. They are enlivened by the sweet words of the Vedas. Madhya means madhu. Madhu means honey. So sweet words of the Vedas. And they pose as Pandita Maninaha, and they encourage people to worship the demigods by giving them entreaties. Like if you want, a child has grabbed away your mobile, which is very costly. So he is not ready to give. What will you do to get back your mobile? You have to give him something replacement. You give him some chocolate, entreat him, and take your mobile from him back. So something like that here, to aspire for sense gratification. So the people, these Vedavada Rathas, they worship the demigods by giving them gifts. By offering them as various gifts, as allurements for them, so that you enjoy sense gratification in this material world. That's why they are known as Stabdaha, foolish people, adamant people, Murkaha, then Akovidaha. Then further it says, Rajasa Gora Sankalpaha, being in the mode of passion, Gora Sankalpaha, having extensive desires, like severe desires, Gora Sankalpaha, Kamuka Ahimanyavaha, and Kamukaha, and they are all of excessively lusty person, Kamukaha. We say Kama Pisachi, sometimes we heard this word, because he is extensively lusty person. So they are known as Kamukaha, and they are Ahimanyavaha. Their anger is such a way like a serpent. The serpent, if you touch him, he becomes so angry, it will rise. So they are known as Ahimanyava. Their anger is so high. The moment you touch, they become so angry. Dambikaha, they are very proud. Maninaha, they are very deceitful. Papaha, very sinful. Vihasanchi Achyuta Priyan, and they mock the behavior of the devotees who are very dear to the Lord. These Vedavada Rathas, because of their extensive pride, all these things and all, they mock, they offend the devotees. Then, Vadantite Anyonyam Upasita Shriyaha. Vadantite Anyonyam, they speak among themselves. One Vedavadi speaks to other Vedavadi very, very pleasingly, very friendly, very lovingly they speak among themselves. Upasita Shriyaha, and they worship their wives. And Griheshu Maitunya Pareshu Cha Ashishaha, and they make their home as dedicated to sex life. Gruheshu Maitunya Pareshu Cha, they make their homes become dedicated to sex life. Yajanti Ashrushta Annam Vidana Dakshinam, and they worship the demigods also, or they perform sacrifices. Ashrushta Annam, where no food is distributed, Shri Radha Govinda ki. The Vidana Dakshinam, where no charity is given to the learned scholars and Brahmanas, and where mantras are not performed properly. So these are they perform sacrifices. This is like performing sacrifices in ignorance category. Then what? Expecting Ashishaha, mercy, blessings they want. And they worship the Lord without any performance of food sacrifice or all these things and all. Vrityai param gnanti pashun ata vidaha. And gnanti pashun, they simply slaughter animals cruelly. Atad vidaha, without understanding the dark consequence of their activities. And vrityai, and by their understanding the ritualistic sacrifice as a necessary item for bodily maintenance only. They think these ritualistic sacrifices are meant for bodily enhancement. They are purely on the bodily concept of life. They are conducting their ritualistic sacrifices are how to make this body comfortable. How to make the best use of this body. That's why Vrityai Paramashishaha, they expect all good unto this body. And they think that this body is the best thing. Their vritti or their work is for this body only to make it more comfortable. That is their foolish perspective. Then further, what happens? Shriya vibhutya abhijanena vidyaya tyagena rupena balena karmana. So Shriyaha, their great wealth, vibhutya, all their opulences, abhijanena, and their rich heritage or family prestige, vidyaya, their education, tyagena, their renunciation, rupena, their personal beauty, balena, their physical strength, karmana, and by their successful performance of Vedic rituals, jatasmayena andadiya saha ishwaran. So jataha, being intoxicated with this false pride, andadiyaha, because of their cruel-minded intelligence which is blinded, andadiyaha, saha ishwaran, they do not worship the Supreme Lord, or sataha, along with his devotees, avyamanayanti, they blaspheme the Vaishnavas and the Supreme Lord also, because of their kalaha, their enviousness. And Haripriyan, the devotees who are very dear to Achyuta, Hari, these people blaspheme the devotees. The Vedic system, its perspective, that is, these Vedavad Rathas, they do not like devotional perspectives at all. Pure devotees they do not like. They mock devotees. They criticize devotees. They engage in Vaishnava Aparadha. By this process, what happens? They lose whatever they have gained in this life also, and their next lives and all will be only simply ignorance, where they can never see sunlight at all. Like Krishna says, I put them into the lowest form of life. Tanapi divshitan kruran samsareshu naradaman. So they will go to naradama stage, and they will go to lower forms of life, and they will go to Naraka planets because of offending the Vaishnavas. So then quoting from Narada Pancharatra, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj quotes in this perspective, he says, Vedai Puranai Siddhantair. So there are Vedas, there are Puranas, and there are conclusions of the Vedic knowledge known as Siddhantas. Binner Vibranta Chetasni. So people become Vibranta Chetasni, they become bewildered because of various perspectives. Kshayam na adhigachanti. Because of their bewildered attitude, they cannot understand the truth. Kim Tattvam, Kim Parampadam. They could not understand what is the truth, absolute truth, and what is that spiritual world, the Parampadam. Because of Swayam, because of cannot perfectly know the truth regarding the Supreme Lord, and because of they have offended the personalities, so they great personality. They cannot understand about the Supreme Lord, they cannot understand about the spiritual world Vaikuntha also. Even though they may study all the Vedas, all these perspectives, they cannot never come into the conclusion of the devotees and the Vaikuntha spiritual world. All these things does not get into their head. So what is this sacrifice then? How did it evolve? So Shastra says, Lord Krishna himself says, Treta Mukhe Mahabhaga, O most fortunate one, Treta Mukhe, at the beginning of Treta Yuga, Pranan me Hridayat Trayi, Pranan me, my life air, Hridayat, or the heart, which is the source of my life air, Trayi, in three ways, Vidya Pradurbu Tasya, which appeared, this transcendental knowledge appeared from my heart, Pradurbu Tasya, Aham Asam Trivran Makaha, and from that knowledge, transcendental knowledge, three categories of sacrifices evolved. The first knowledge which appeared from the heart of the Lord, and from that knowledge, three kinds of sacrifices evolved. What is that knowledge? Rig, Sama, Yajurvedaha, which appeared from the Lord, from his heart, and from that three kinds of sacrifices evolved. The three divisions are understood as follows. The Hota priest offers oblations into the fire and chants the Rig Veda mantra. The Udgata priest chants the Samaveda, and the Advaryu priest who arranges the sacrificial ground altar chants the Yajurveda. In this way, the three specific Vedas which are required for the sacrifice has evolved from the personality of the Lord himself. That's why we are trying to correlate everything with the form of the Lord, because it is emanation from the Lord. And this is specifically, sacrifices are in specifically prescribed in Treta Yuga. So sometimes people also cannot understand about the position of the Lord, and sometimes devotees also cannot understand the position of the Lord. Or devotees want the Lord's glories to be propagated, so they act as if they don't know. So while doing Govardhana Parikrama, you come across a village known as Peta or Peta. This is a specific village where 2-3 unique pastimes happened about the Lord. So one pastime is connected with the boys, the other pastime is connected with the gopis, Radharani specifically. So when Indra had attacked Vrindavan, so with torrents of heavy rain, so Krishna had to protect the Vrajavasis. So how did he protect Vrajavasis? By lifting. So Govardhana Hill is not a small thing, it is a huge thing. So it has to be lifted from the center and the bottom. So Krishna, through this village, there is a cave which goes to the center of the Govardhana, it seems. So he entered the cave. From there he took up a position where he will be easily able to lift the Govardhana Hill on his left finger, so that he will be able to balance the entire hill, and he gets a strong support of lifting from the center of the base of Govardhana Hill. So before going into the place, the boys were wondering, Krishna, Govardhana Hill is too big, it will be very difficult for you. I think you will not be able to lift it. So Krishna said, no, I will be able to easily manage. It is small, like a chutku thing for me. But boys were not confident. So boys said, there is a Kadamba tree here. If you can twist this Kadamba tree, we accept you will be able to lift the Govardhana Hill. Then Krishna, like how we squeeze our towel so that all the water drains out, he twisted the tree. So that the boys got confidence, yes, Krishna is capable enough, he can lift the Govardhana Hill. So then they gave permission to Krishna, okay, go inside to lift the Govardhana Hill. Because Krishna twisted that Kadamba, it became known as Ainta Kadamba, means in local language it is known as twisted Kadamba. So recently they very few years back that tree passed away, but still that base is there. Now how at Imli Tala we can see that Imli tree, how it is still there. This Kadamba tree, even if you see, it will be of this size, where the base is, the root is there, which is like a twisted, like you can see all the twists into the body of Kadamba tree. So this is one particular pastime there. Then they decorated Krishna like a wrestler. His body is decorated like a wrestler person, and they put one beautiful silk chadar at his waist, and they gave him an opportunity to go and further lift the Govardhana Hill. This is connected with the boys. Then it is connected with the gopis. We all know in Bhagavatam also we read this perspective. One day Krishna, while there was rasa dance happening, he disappeared from the place. He wanted to test the bhakti of the gopis. He wanted to play pranks with his devotees. So he vanished, and the gopis and Radharani, they started searching around for Krishna everywhere. So Krishna transformed himself into Vishnu or Narayana feature, and he was hiding in a grove nearby. The gopis were going everywhere. They were asking trees, plants, birds, animals, everywhere they are asking, have you seen Krishna? Has he gone this way, like that and all they were asking. Finally they came to this location where they saw Narayana future. They immediately paid obeisances, offered prayers, and they went away. So even Krishna duped gopis. They could not recognize that it is Krishna himself. Now after some time Radharani was coming. Krishna said, I want to maintain the same posture. I don't want to, I want to even cheat Radharani, that she will not be able to identify me. But seeing the intensity of Radharani, seeing that distress what Radharani is going through, Krishna also, he became convinced, no, I cannot stand here like that. I have to go in front of her and I have to pacify her. The four-armed what he had exhibited, the extra two arms got merged into the Lord. It entered back into the Lord. And he became like Krishna, where Radharani was able to see the bhakti of Radharani, where Krishna also had to come and surrender to her. So Peta means the word it, which means entered into. So Krishna entered into that location to lift Govardhana Hill. This is first perspective. Or the two extra arms which Krishna had displayed entered into the body of Krishna, so that he became like a normal man, so that he stands in front of Radharani and he becomes subdued by the devotion of Radharani. So this is that unique pastime which happened at this place. So similarly in Chaitanya Bhagavata also, there is one particular pastime where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Nityananda Prabhu for first time. So in that unique pastime, one certain elements will be there where we will understand later how Vrindavan Das Thakura explains about this perspective. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day used to meet with all his associates. So he used to engage in Sankirtana movement. So Nityananda Prabhu was waiting for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to start the Sankirtana movement. So Nityananda Prabhu was at that time staying in Vrindavan. He wanted Lord to manifest himself. Till then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was acting like Nimai Pandit, like a scholar person only. So once he went to Gaya, met Ishwarapuri, when he came back, he was a different transformed personality. Then he started meeting Vaishnavas, he started engaging in Sankirtana every day. So then Nityananda Prabhu could understand, yes, now my Lord is ready. So then he came to Navadvip and he stayed in the house of Nandanacharya. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand Nityananda Prabhu has come to Navadvip. So feeling that he wanted to meet Nityananda Prabhu, that everlasting relationship between both the brothers. So what happened? Aila Nadiya Pure Nityananda Raya Sakala Bhuvane Jaya Jaya Dvani Ghaya. So when Lord Nityananda arrived in Nadiya, there were shouts of joy all over the world. Say Mahima Bole Hena Ke Ache Prachanda Ye Prabhu Bhangila Gaura Sundarera Danda. So who can describe the glories of Lord who broke the Sannyasa Danda of Gaura Sundara? Vanik Adharma Murka Ye Karila Para Brahmanda Pavitra Hoya Nama Laila Yandra. The entire universe becomes purified by chanting the names of He who delivered the fallen, the foolish and the merchants. Paya Nandanacharya Harshita Hana Arakilena Nijagrahe Bhiksha Karayaya. So he kept Nityananda Prabhu in his house and he gave him Bhiksha and he was maintaining Nityananda. He is taking care of Nityananda Prabhu. Navadvipe Nityananda Chandra Agamana Ihaye Sune Taramile Premadana. So whoever hears the pastime of Lord Nityananda entering into Navadvipadvama achieves the love of Godhead. Nityananda Agamana Jani Vishwambara Ananta Harisha Prabhu Hoila Antara. He became very happy that Nityananda Prabhu has come to Navadvipa. Purya Vyapadeshe Sarva Vaishnaverastyane Vyanjiya Achena Keha Marma Nahi Jane. So earlier Vishwambara had told all the Vaishnavas that one great personality is going to come very soon. So people were wondering who is that great personality. They could not estimate. Are bhai dina dui teenera bhitere. My dear brothers, within 2-3 days, Kona Mahapurusha eka asiba ek bare. So one great Mahapurusha is going to come here. Daive say dina Vishnu Puji Gaurachandra. So by providence that day, so after worshipping Lord Vishnu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Satvar Milila Yaha Yata Vaishnavera Vrinda. So he came and met all the Vaishnavas in their group. Sabhakarasthane Prabhu Kahena Apane, in front of all the Vaishnavas, he started explaining to them. Aji Ami Apurupa Dekilun Swapne. Today I saw one wonderful dream in my sleep. Taladvaja Ekarata Samsarera Sara. So there was one chariot with the flag post of a palm tree. Like Garuda Dvaja is Hanumad Dvaja, Garuda Dvaja. So Krishna is Garuda Dvaja, Arjuna is Hanumad Dvaja, Balarama is Tala Dvaja. Samsarera Sara, which is the essence of life for people. Asiya Rahila Rata Amara Duyara. So that chariot came and stopped in front of my door. Tara Madhya Deki Eka Prakanda Sharira. A huge personality came out of that chariot. Maha Eka Stamba Skande Gati Nahe Stira. He held a post on his shoulder and his movements were unsteady. Vetra Banda Eka Kamandolu Vamahate. So in his left hand he carried a water pot wrapped in cane. Neela Vastra Paridhana, he was having blue colored dress. Neela Vastra Mate, and the top was also of a bluish color. Vamashruti Mule Eka Kandula Vichitra. Haladara Bhava Hena Bujhi Ya Charitra. His left ear was decorated with one charming earring. Only one earring was there. And his characteristics he could understand. He was none other than Lord Balarama. Ebadi Nimani Panditera Hoya Hoya. He asked, is this house of Nimai Pandit? Dashabara Vishabara Kata Kaya. 10 times, 20 times he was asking, is this the house of Nimai Pandit? Maha Avaduta Vesha Parama Prakanda Arakabu Nahi Deki Yemana Uddanda. His body was so huge and enormous that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I have never seen such a kind of personality. Dekiya Sambrama Bada Pailama Ami Jignashila Ami Kon Mahajana Tumi. By seeing that person, I became very inquisitive. I asked, who are you, O great personality? Hasya Amara Bole. By laughing, he said, E bhai hoya, I am your elder brother. Tomaya Amai Kali Hoiba Parichaya. Tomorrow morning, both of us will be meeting. Our Parichaya, our acquaintance will happen tomorrow morning. Harisha Badila Suni Tahara Vachana. Apanara Vashon Muni Yena Sai Sama. I became most pleased by hearing his words and I considered myself to be identical with him. Hena Buji Mora Chitta Laya Eka Kata Kona Mahapurusheka Asiyachani Eka. It appears to me in my mind that some great personality had arrived here already. Chala Haridasa Chala Shivas Pandita. Chaha Giya Deki Ke Ashe Kon Bita. So go around, search around Haridasa and Srivasa. Who is that great personality who had landed up in Navadvipa? Dui Mahabhagavata Prabhura Adeshe, on the order of the Lord, the both Mahabhagavatas. Sarva Navadvipa Chahi Bulaya Harisha. They roamed around entire Navadvipa searching for Nityananda Prabhu. Chahite Kata Kahe Dui Jana E Buji Aila Kiba Prabhu Sankarshana. They were wondering, who is that great personality? Is it Lord Sankarshana? Lord Balarama had come here or what? Anande Vihpala Dunhe Chahiya Vedaya Tilardeka Uddesha Kota Nahi Paya. So in the anticipation of looking around, they roamed around entire Nadia for 9 hours it seems. But still they could not find anybody. Sakala Nadia Tina Prahara Chahia Aila Prabhur Stane Kahon na Dekiya. So after 9 hours roaming everywhere, they came back and informed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu they could not find anybody new. Nivedila Asi Donhe Prabhur Charane, they informed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Upadika Kota O Nahile Darshane. We could not find anybody new. Ki Vaishnava, Ki Sannyasi, Kri Grahastha Sala. We went to the Vaishnava's place, Sannyasi's houses, Grahastha's houses, Pashandera Gara Adi, Dekilun Shakala. Even to the atheist house we went everywhere. Chahilama Sarva Navadvipa Yaranama. And we roamed entire Navadvipa. Sabena Chahilun Prabhu, Giya Anya Grama. Maybe we did not go outside of Navadvipa, but every house of Navadvipa we went around, but we could not find. Donhara Vachana Suni, Hase Gaura Chandra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughed. Chale Bujhaila Bada, Guda Nityananda. By this pastime, he revealed that Nityananda is most confidential. Bada Guda Nityananda E Avatara, Chaitanya Jikayare Na Dekite Para. Lord Nityananda is most confidential. One can see him only when Lord Chaitanya reveals him. Sarvata Srivasa Adi Tanra Tattva Jane Na Haila Deka Kon Kautuka Karane. Even though Srivas Pandit and that devotees, they know all the intricate tatwas of the Lord, for some particular reason they could not identify Lord Nityananda. Kshaneka Thakura Bole Ishat Hasiya. So after smiling, Asi Amar Sangye Sabe Dekiya Giya. You all come with me, let us go and see. Ullase Prabhura Sangye Sarva Bhakta Gana. So very happily all the devotees followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Krishna Boli Sabe Karila Gamana. By chanting the holy name of Krishna, they all followed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sabalana Prabhu Nandanacharya Ghara Janiya Utila Giya Shri Gaura Sundara. So they all went to the house of Nandanacharya. Vasiyachena Eka Mahapurusha Ratana Sabe Dekilena Yena Koti Surya Sama. They saw one Mahapurusha sitting outside. His bodily effulgence is like 1,000 suns, Koti, like crores of suns emanating from his body. Alakshita Avesha Bujhana Nahi Oya Dhyana Shuke Paripurna Hasaya Sadaya. So no one could understand his internal mood. He was absorbed in happiness from his meditation and he was continuously smiling. Maha Bhakti Yoga Prabhu Bujhiya Tanhara. Everybody could understand. He is a great devotee, pure in devotional mode. Ganasaha Vishwambara Haila Namaskara. So all the associates and Lord Chaitanya paid obeisances to Nityananda Prabhu. Sambrame Rahila Sarvagana Dandyaye Keha Kichuna Bole Rahila Chahiya. Everyone stood there watching him in awe and reverence without speaking a word. Sammuke Rahila Mahaprabhu Vishwambara Chinilena Nityananda Pranera Ishvara. So Mahaprabhu had recognized Nityananda Prabhu and Nityananda Prabhu had recognized Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Both of them recognized he is the Lord of my life, he is the Lord of my life. In that way, they were seeing, they were witnessing and they all enjoyed Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who had met for first time. There is further perspective. We will understand in some other session how there is a unique way which is further described. How Nityananda Prabhu's bhakti is known to people of all the other Vaishnavas. How great is Nityananda Prabhu, how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will enact that pastime. The whole perspective is, unless Lord reveals about himself, we cannot understand about himself. So here the perspective is, the sages are trying to glorify the Lord. They are trying to identify the body of the Lord with various elements of sacrifice, so that in every perspective they want to relate with the Lord only. With every element they want to connect with the Lord. So the prayers will continue further. We will get to know more technical details in the further verses. I will stop here. So Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand.
Hare Krishna Golden Temple వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం. వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి